Hi there, I'm Dr. Taylor, and today we are interviewing Miss Brisa Hennessy. She is probably the most incredible person I know, but besides that, she's a professional surfer. She's a two-time Olympian. She finished, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brisa, number 5 in 2020, number 4 in 2024, and then also number 4 in the world. So you've just double confirmed your spot. And then you won the 2022 Sunset Pro event. What else? You're still on the championship tour. And you are the first Costa Rican to qualify for the Olympics. Is that true?
It is for the surfing side, yes.
Yeah, of course, surfing. Yeah. That's awesome. All right, Brisa, let's jump in. So today we're going to talk a little bit about your mind-body medicine experience. And for people who don't know, mind-body medicine, it's a lot of mindfulness techniques, but the medicine part, it comes in when we talk about the science and how we can specifically apply it. And later, I will have a quiz for you, Brisa, about the humming that you like to do.
Goodness.
So get ready. I didn't tell you to prepare, so I wanted to see if you'd be surprised at the answers.
Amazing. I can't wait.
All right. So let's start. First of all, your parents are amazing, Mike and Katie. They are awesome. So how cool. But I know a little about your childhood, but I want you to tell us about your childhood and kind of, were you always interested, or did you always sometimes people have to buy in, to mind-body medicine techniques. Did you always have that as a part of you where you're like, I know about all this healing, I can do for myself? Or tell me about that. Tell me about your childhood and how amazing it is.
Yeah, my childhood experience was very unconventional. I was born and raised off the grid in the Osa Peninsula of Costa Rica. My parents drove down there and they never left for 14 years. And then 10 years later, I was born. And I think my connection with myself and nature really stemmed from my upbringing there. I mean, living was so simple and raw and wild, and I think you really had to be in tune with yourself and your surroundings, and it's where I learned how to surf. And there wasn't a lot of people down there, but the few people that I was surrounded by were, very amazing healers and very just wise, and I think connected to nature, and was very knowledgeable in that space. So I think that's where I kind of had more of that awareness. And of course, my parents were all about, healing and really taking the steps to be the best version of yourself, mind, body, spirit.
Can you name can you give me more details? I know there's so many cool stories from your childhood, but kind of more specifics, like what kind of healing did you notice when you were young? And is that always something you just accepted and integrated, or was there a little more, I guess, buy-in?
Yeah, there was a lot of incredible expats and also like locals that would do breath work. And a lot of yoga and meditation, during my childhood, and my parents would always be a part of that, as well as I would just, run in my little 5-year-old self and kind of just be around that energy. And I think just the biggest thing was more of the awareness of nature and getting, I think, amongst it and living simply and not being on technology or being, I think, overwhelmed with society pressures. It was a lot of, like I mentioned, simple living. And so while it wasn't necessarily one thing that I think shaped how I saw my mind or my body or my spirit, it was just a collection of things that kind of came together in that moment of living fully every day, because I think that is what we all are trying to strive for.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people just don't know it exists. Do you know what I mean? People will be like, oh, I'm going to work them to go on vacation for a couple weeks, and like maybe they'll experience a little on vacation. But as you know, I gave all my things away when I left the U.S. and I never looked back. I don't need all of that. And growing up, my mom, part of my childhood was in northern Utah in a little tiny town. And my mom was tired of us watching TV. So she turned it off initially for, the summertime, but then just kept it off. And honestly, like when I was young, I was like, oh, Mom, I practiced piano like an hour a day, but we all played soccer. Like we'd go out in my friend's yard and play soccer all day, all night, and ride our bikes. And I think even for me, that small taste, of running around without shoes on and things like that, like I appreciate that so much, as an adult. When I was young, I was like, I want to watch TV, but truthfully, yeah, I can totally relate. And I think it's really beautiful. You do a lot of things. I think you had, correct me if I'm wrong, like a retreat that was about for kids on like coming off of technology and reconnecting with other people.
Yeah, that's something that's definitely in the works. 2 years ago, I did kind of a few day just experience with some of the UNICEF kids in Costa Rica and brought them surfing and had them really, I think, connect to nature and, be aware of our surroundings. But the retreat that I'm hoping to plan more of in the future, and I really want you to be a part of, I think what you talked about is, to disconnect, to reconnect, which is something, you mentioned, right? The part, our childhood, how deeply important it is to ground yourself, to get your nails in the dirt, to just be outside. And I think that we've lost like a lot of touch within that of being a kid and, just expanding in that space. So I really want to hopefully do that for more of kids. I feel like that's the next generation, and that's where the change will be in the world.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I mean, there's even studies on literally, you said getting your nails in the dirt, like literally being barefoot outside can improve health. And with children, especially, helps them be more calm, helps them pay attention. And again, this is some of the medicine part of the mind-body medicine. Just knowing how going back to the basics or going back to these traditional beliefs can really heal us. And that's so cool that the science is coming along, so that it can become our medicine again. People already knew thousands of years ago, and now here science is like, yeah, oh yeah, they were right. So
yeah, that's why it's been amazing to work with you, because I think, you obviously have shown me of things that I'm starting to implement more into my routine, but things that I did, subconsciously, or, getting outside and seeing sunlight, for your circadian rhythm, you've given me the science-based facts that really make sense. And we do need to just go back to our instincts of what we did in our ancestral times. And there is science-based evidence on that. And I think so. It's so important to have that integration, because then we're like, oh, that does make sense. And that's why we are called to do that if we listen, to our gut.
Yeah, if we don't have screens and constant scrolling and all of that, our bodies really can tell us. And I think those are very kind words about working with me. But truthfully, Brisa, you are amazing to work with, because you are so in tune with your body already. That, when I be like, how about this? Be like, yeah, okay. Like, you know what I mean, And I think it's really it's so cool. It's such a blessing to work with you. And you already know this. I could go on forever.
Mutual.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit more. After you grew up a little on the peninsula, you moved to Hawaii, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. At what age was that?
I think I was around 10.
10. So what kind of differences did you see? Was there a little bit of a culture shock, like more of I don't know if it's more of a city life. I mean, it's still, a beautiful island. But what was kind of the difference there? Did you notice people like maybe weren't as interested in this organic mind body? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, I was very lucky to transition into, such a, I think, a beautiful place that still, I think, embodies a lot of mind, body, spirit. But then again, coming from super off grid, not that many people, straight into, a school with, over thousands of kids, and just a lot of, I think, society, like social interactions were different, and just a lot more chaos. And I think it was a big culture shock for me. Like I felt like I was going into a different world, or whatever, the real world, and having to adapt and being like, whoa, I guess, am I actually listening to my instincts and my gut? Or is this because I'm, following the path of others, or what I'm supposed to do, or what is normal? So I definitely felt like I didn't fit in for a little bit, because, I definitely felt like this little jungle girl that was different. And I think about her a lot, because I think she knew a lot more about how to live and how to be, because you have to adapt, but then also make sure that you are in tune of the natural world and the natural process,
Yeah. Were there any specifics? And I'm laughing because when I was 11, we moved from like our tiny town to Southern California, and that was a huge thing. Like, what?
Yeah.
So, were there any specific examples of times that you were like, oh, this is very different?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember having my first chocolate donut. That was a rush. It's like seeing a vacuum for the first time. And gosh, I think it was more of like all the kids, and like just how you could just be kind of overwhelmed in that space. Like I grew up with the animals, and the animals were my best friends. So now going into like, whoa, like, starting to become teenagers and going into that, I don't know, judgy kind of space at times was a lot. You're kind of growing into, a young woman, and of course there's a lot of like hormones, and yeah, it was a little bit of a lot of sensory overload for me. And I'm just like a natural introvert also. So it was just a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
That was a shock.
I get that. The more I meditate and the more I'm like calm and peaceful, the more I like, oh my gosh. And I think, as I mentioned, like as kids, not everyone gets to experience the unhooked, the barefoot, all of that.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm just curious. So when you got to high school, tell me, were you homeschooled, public? What kind of mix?
I went to normal school all the way until middle school. And then I transitioned into homeschooling in high school.
Okay. So in that middle school age, was there more of that, oh, I don't want to be different, and so you kind of got away from your kind of roots, and you're like, I just want to be like the other girls?
Actually, I mean, I think there was that in the back of my mind. Like, I felt like I just wanted to fit in. I didn't want to stand out. But I actually transitioned out of like being whatever popular, or being like with the cool kids, to hanging more with the super knowledgeable, kind of like the nerds of the school, because I actually love to learn, and I didn't feel like as alone when I was with them. And so when I was first in elementary school, because I was a surfer, I felt like I was immediately kind of we're just like drawn to like being more of like a popular kid. And then when I reached more middle school, I was like, I want to learn, and I don't want to be a part of that group. So it was, thinking about it now, I think it was really just a interesting time for me to to value more like education and not being afraid to like stand out, you know, which I'm proud of my younger self.
Well, and I can tell you, and now at this age, that you've been someone who had the opportunity to know yourself since a young age. You know,
which I think
so
goals help.
And then I'm just curious. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I said I think it was just the jungle. I think the jungle helped me with that.
And the earth will always make you know yourself. And disconnecting and the earth can sometimes, for people that are used to like constant noise, be horrible. Like, I need a distraction. But it's really, I think, working through that discomfort is what really brings our knowledge of self. What do you think?
100%. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it is, I think the silence, right, to not have to, I think Eckhart really brought that to light to me, is like we live in this world of like trying to fill the silence, right? Whatever that may be, which is not necessarily noise, but like we have to be on our phone, or we have to, I don't know, just fill everything, because it's just, we can't be like, we have to always be in a rush. But like just sitting with Mother Earth, and because it does go slow, or it just goes in the right timing. And I think we're not used to that, because we love instant gratification, and we love going to the next thing and checking off boxes and checking off goals. And I'm totally in that mindset most of the time. That's why the earth can kind of be scary to sit outside, because we're always like, oh my God, I got to do something. But do we? I don't know.
Yeah, I think, and this is one thing I've been trying to get across to some of the people I work with, is that you can allow and still get better at your sport. Like, and this is what we're talking about, allowing. And one example of that is, I think I've told you about this, but your mirror neurons, they're in your brain already. And scientifically, there's a study that shows that those mirror neurons can improve your ability to do a task if you just watch it. And I think again, that's some of the beauty of mind-body medicine, is what can we do to let go and let our bodies show us.
Right.
And then also improve performance and recovery. And like, it's kind of a really amazing thing. I'm a huge nerd about it, and you know that. I could talk forever. But yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm just curious about this. Tell me kind of your training schedule. Like, when did you decide you were going to be a professional surfer? What kind of schedule did you have to adopt from there? Tell me a little about that, and the stressors and things like that.
So when I moved to Hawaii, I just started kind of going into the competitive space or mindset. My uncle was an ex-professional surfer, and so he kind of got me into competing, and I kind of fell in love with it pretty early on. I think I always think about my competitiveness because I don't feel like I'm that kind of person on land. And
on land,
where did that come from? And I think it really stemmed from being in the jungle and having that survival instinct, and kind of, I love like being anyone I wanted to be. When I put on the jersey or being out in the ocean, like I could just, turn into an animal, I guess. So yeah, I started competing, and I had, it was a journey. I had success pretty early on, but, I think I put a lot of stress on myself when I was pretty little. I mean, like 13, 14, where, you're just starting out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I feel like it was just like, if I lose a contest, it's the end of the world. And it was, I think if I would go back in time, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, it's just part of the process, and like, try not to be stressed out. And it's hard, I think, when you're in the moment. And I started doing like national contests, and then transitioned to like qualifying series. And then I qualified in 2018. and got on the championship tour, which is, the dream. That was my biggest goal. And it kind of happened pretty suddenly and unexpectedly. And I have to admit, like before that, there was definitely times where I was going to give up, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was so young. Why would I even think that? But yeah, I stuck with it and worked hard. And I mean, my first couple years on tour, it was challenging. I think when you're at the top and you're surrounded by the best in the world, it's so easy to kind of judge yourself and think that you're not enough or have to be there or do what they're doing. And so my rookie year was definitely a challenge. And, this is going to be my, I think, 6th or 7th year on tour, which is wild to me. And I finally feel like I have a good sense of self, and I know it's a journey, and it's going to be constant. But I'm very motivated, and I'm like really lucky to have an amazing team. And you have been such a big part of it, going through my health stuff, and it's led me to this moment right now.
I'm so excited. I'm so proud of you, Brisa. I'm so excited to see what this year brings, because this past year you finished 4th in the world, but you have been through quite a bit. Can you tell us more, whatever you're comfortable sharing, about this past, since I met you, and kind of what's been the last year and a half, I guess now, or so, and what's been going on there?
Right. So I think we started working together was it 2023? Was it?
Mm-hmm.
I think 2020.
I think it's April. Yeah, it was April. It was when I was in Nosara.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
April or May. Yeah.
And yeah, it was a journey. My symptoms started back in like 2022, I would say, where I just started getting like a lot of fatigue and just brain fogged and lethargy and inflammation and puffiness. And overall, I felt like I was a pretty healthy human, pretty in tune with my body, and I didn't know like what was kind of happening. And I started taking more blood tests, and they saw that I had problems with my thyroid, and it was always like a mystery. I think I went to so many different endocrinologists, and they told me something different. And then I finally found you, and you helped me figure out it was central hypothyroidism, and I had a bunch of little other kinks in the works of prediabetes, anemia, all sorts of little things. But yeah, it was a challenge because I didn't recognize myself, my body. I didn't feel strong or motivated as an athlete. And that's, I think, the worst feeling, when that is your job, to be able to, you have to show up and be 100%. And if I'm showing up and I'm 20%, I think that's, it's really discouraging and frustrating. And I felt like a fight within my body a lot. And it's been a process, but we figured out a lot of things thanks to you. And yeah, I'm still on this journey, but I finally feel like I'm in a good place of, still figuring it out, but the best I've felt in a long time.
Yeah. And you did, it's not my job to talk about your medical history, but you did leave out one very important thing, is that you also have a little brain tumor that's benign. But I mean, that's not a little, that was very scary.
Yeah.
For a while, right? That you were like, oh my God, what's happening?
For sure. Yeah, it was almost kind of not validating, but when I first found it, I felt it was obviously really scary, but it kind of, I don't know, just kind of made sense on like why it was so complicated, I feel like. And I don't know how much it really served in the weirdness that I was kind of going through. But I feel like we've shrunk it. I think that was the goal for us. If my symptoms didn't get any worse, you were really monitoring my symptoms and seeing what would happen. And, luckily a lot of things subsided. So hopefully that little guy is well and truly gone.
That little guy.
That was
Yeah.
scary.
I'm so happy we didn't have to proceed with anything, but
Yeah.
so beautiful. And I'm gonna circle back because you said, oh, I was like 20 or 30%, but you got fourth in the world. Like, I just want to give you a big hand, like a big applause. It wasn't a fluke too, because you did the same at the Olympics as you did in your world, in the world. Oh my gosh, I almost called it the World Series, the championship tour.
Yeah.
So you showed us that 20 to 30% Brisa gets number 4 in the world. So pretty much you're going to be like, not just number 1. Like, is there an above
Oh my God.
one? Like now, now that you're getting back to yourself. No. But there is one thing I wanted to point out that I really love is I think you as a person, and I think surfers maybe in general, they're very encouraging of each other. It's not, and this is, I am not, I mean, I'm barely a newbie surfer, so I have nothing to say about that. But I see you girls, even, maybe not all of them, just encouraging each other and being cool. And like, that's a very unique, I think, experience to surfing. And I wonder if, in part, it has to do with the fact that you don't have phones or anything when you're out in the ocean. So you get, and tell me if this is right, it seems there's more ability to have human connection because you don't have your phones a lot and you're not inside and you're connecting to nature. Tell me a little about whether I'm completely wrong or if that, if that's relatable.
For sure. I mean, obviously I'm so biased, but I think surfing is the best sport in the world. And I think everyone should experience it. And I think you're really, bang on with the connection part because it is such a sacred space of necessarily like it's not about, I think you're constantly maybe connecting or communicating with the people, around you, but you are very in tune with yourself and what's going on. You're in the present moment. And that's such a beautiful space to be in of, I think, when you do well on a wave or when the wave comes to you and you're in flow, it's because you were present. The minute that you're getting too far ahead or you're thinking about the past, things aren't in the flow. And so I think that's the gift that us surfers have is this beautiful superpower of being in the now, and we don't do that very often in this day and age. And so when surfers are able to tap into the now, it's such free flowing beautiful energy, and I think it's shared mutually around. And I mean, I have to admit it does get a little bit ego-y out in the water sometimes because
I've been surfing like a year and a half and I've already experienced like,
I would see.
Sorry.
It's hard because I know we're all trying to get the best wave and we want to have this experience, but it's kind of contradicting because, like, what are we out there for? We're out there to get out of the water and be a better human and better person because of what we did. So why don't we share this beautiful space together and cheer on each other? Which there is a lot of that too, but I think we need to lean more into that because it can be a lot sometimes, and especially for people to start out. And I hope they feel welcomed because it is an amazing sport and everyone should try it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I out of the ego stuff, I just want to say I know I'm not good at all, but I do think. Well, Brisa, I'm going to start following you around, and then I'm going to be on the champion tour next year.
Heck
You
yeah.
watch out.
Let's do it.
Here I come. But as far as the ego thing, it's funny to me. Not so much me. I actually stay out of the way so much that sometimes I never catch a wave because I'm like, I don't want to be anyone's way. But some people get so intense, and I'm like, this is not the Champions Tour. Like, calm down. And I think some mornings when I'm like that, or whenever I'm out in the water, and again, like, I try to stay out of the way. I'll sometimes catch the shoulder if I can, and I always introduce myself like, oh, I'm kind of new. Let me know if I get in your way. I'm not trying to. Just tell me where to stay. I do my best, but sometimes just like this attitude of like, I'm so great. Like,
Yeah.
why don't we pause and just be like, look at this beautiful place we're in? And sometimes I'll say that out loud. Like, I would rather not, there's no place I would rather be right now,
Sure.
especially when people are fighting over the waves, the ocean. No one owns that. Like, there's etiquette for safety, and but you can definitely speak more to that. But I understand what you're saying is sometimes we're so busy looking at other people that we forget what we have.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. And I gotta make sure I take a step back and then really be in that gratitude mindset, because sometimes I take it for granted a lot. It's a weird feeling to kind of have this really amazing but very privileged to have this as like my job and my sport, but within that I get like so caught up in like being unaware and kind of being ego-y too, because I'm like gotta practice, like gotta do my thing and da 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 da, and then I kind of tap out of that enjoyment and that beauty and why we love to surf. And I gotta remember that I gotta tune more into that, because that's when I do my best surfing, not when I'm like trying to expect. I just need to open up more of my arms and hearts and receive and be more in flow. So I really want to work on that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also are competing, so that's a little, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay a little bit, give yourself a break. But yeah, I think, like I was saying, there's a lot of allowing in mind body medicine. Allowing, and like you're saying, just relax, allow yourself to take it all in. And that's when you do better. And I think that is a great segue to talk about your mind body medicine technique, humming. And the other name for that is most like breath work and breathing techniques come from India. And so the official name, and pranayama is a lot of the name of general breath work. I might be wrong, so sorry if I'm wrong, let me know. But the specific name of humming is Brahmi pranayama. So tell me about that, how it's going, how you use it, how you implement it, how long you've been doing it. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, humming has been, I think, a really crucial part of my morning routine. I'm not really that, to be honest, really great at doing something every single day, which I want to be, but humming has been something that I really kept up. And right when I wake up, I just do 2 to 3 minutes of deep breathing in, and then I hum out. And I think that vibration, I mean, you can maybe explain the scientific version of that.
Oh, don't worry, that's coming. Nerd alert is coming. But you tell me, and I'll tell you a few things.
Yeah. So the humming, I just feel like it down regulates, right, stress, but it just sets me up for a really, I don't know, it just sets me up for a better day. Like my mind, my body and spirit just feels a lot more aligned. And I don't know, I just feel good. But yeah, let me know about the scientific version.
Okay. And so you do that almost every morning. Are you ever doing it like if you're out on your surfboard or you're feeling stressed, does that ever just come to mind to do, or it's just kind of part of your morning?
I do feel like if I am stressed, I do start to hum. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I have this problem where I like unconsciously sing. Like I'll be out there in the water or other places and just be like, I think that's my body wanting me to hum.
Interesting. Yeah. Vibrations.
Yeah. I think, again, our bodies know so much. It's incredible. Okay. Let's do, I don't remember all of the quiz answers, so I have to look here.
Okay.
But we're going to do a quiz on the scientific benefits of humming or Brahmi pranayama. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is true or false. You're going to try to answer, and I'm going to tell you if you're right and why. Okay. First question. Humming can increase nitric oxide production in the nasal cavity, improving sinus health. True or false?
True.
You are correct. There is a research study from 2002 that shows that humming significantly increases the nasal nitric oxide, which helps clear the nasal passages and supports respiratory health.
Incredible.
Something I learned when researching this, and I was like, oh, my nose is stuffy.
Amazing. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool, huh? Okay. Question 2. True or false? Humming can stimulate the vagus nerve and reduce stress.
True.
Yes, that's very true. Exactly what you were saying. You're so in tune with your body. You said it's down-regulating your nervous system. The vagus nerve, so vagus is the Latin word for wanderer. The vagus nerve kind of wanders around. And the vagus nerve is part of our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our relaxing nervous system. So then that when stimulated, it actually calms us down. So yeah, exactly what you were saying about your body.
I knew it.
Okay. True or false? Oh, wait, let me make sure. This is a 2007 study. Yeah, just reiterating what I just said. Okay. True or false? Humming improves focus and brain function by increasing alpha brainwaves.
Trying to remember what alpha does.
Alpha is like relaxing, kind of like when you're driving your car or in the shower or something where your brain is just on mode. And that's when people like come up with ideas or like a good meditation, that kind of thing.
Then true, I'd say.
Sorry, what?
True.
Yes, you're correct. I'm making them easy, huh? Because I'm like, look at all the benefits. I wouldn't say that if it was false. Yes, there was a 2013 study by Pramanik et al. And yes, this is associated with those alpha brainwaves. Okay, true or false? Let's see how many of these. I have 2 more. All right. Humming only works for relaxation if you do it for 20 minutes or more.
No, false.
You are correct, Brisa. Okay, so there's a study in 2002 that shows even the short studies can activate that parasympathetic response we talked about, lower stress, and improve nitric oxide production, not just in your sinuses, but in the rest of your body. Okay, you're doing an excellent job, by the way. You're nailing it. Okay, last questions. True or false? Humming can lower blood pressure and improve heart health.
True.
Yes, ding, 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 good work. So here's the explanation. So the rhythmic breathing improves heart rate variability. I don't know if you know much about heart rate variability, but that's a huge determiner of performance in athletes. So the better heart rate variability, the better performance, and the better mood. Actually, your heart is what leads, and then your mind follows. I think people don't understand. The heart sends about 5,000 times more signals than the brain does.
Wow.
So when your heart rate variability is good, your mood will naturally follow. And not only that, your performance improves by like a lot.
That is,
It's very cool. It's one of the big measures for athletes now.
wow. That's amazing. That's so lead with your heart. That's
Yeah.
the true thing.
So I always say mind, body, medicine, but for me, it's like they're really the same thing. So let me show you how to listen to your body and allow in order to get better.
Right. Right.
And it's great anyway. Okay, awesome. I love that you did that quiz with me. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Brisa.
it's so good to like, I think you kind of feel it within your body, but it's so good to like, yeah, actually know the true scientific based evidence facts. And yeah, it's I mean, I got to keep doing it. That's what it shows me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And again, like you're so good at listening to your body, so you kind of know. But I think that's I love to show people like from the mind body medicine perspective, here's all the benefits of humming, but then what I usually will do or what I try to help, and I think I've done for you, is take what you need and then reverse engineer to find what will help you. Like, for example, if someone was like, oh man, I have sinus issues, or I have a hard time calming down, or, whatever specific thing, my HRV is bad, then I can say, oh, let's see the actual mindfulness technique. So it's like almost that reverse of like, oh, this thing's bothering me. Okay, let's see what technique scientifically will help you. And that's where I'm a real nerd.
Right.
It's a big nerd alert.
Which, yes, I mean, nerd alert, but very helpful and knowledgeable for people that, yeah, like me, that need it. What are 3 things that in mind, body, spirit medicine that you think that are really important to bring into your day-to-day, would you say, besides humming?
Oh, you're interviewing me? Okay. No, so I guess it depends on your ailment, but truthfully, for kind of all around, there is a meta meditation that also improves heart rate variability. You can do that. It's a loving kindness meditation. And loving kindness meditation is kind of, you get in your body, you focus on your heart, and then you think of people or something you love unconditionally, and then you turn that love to yourself. And that kind of like bursting love joy. And that actually improves your heart rate variability and improves performance by allowing yourself to feel love. And it's so healing. So that type of meditation, I would say. Let's see what else. I do a lot of alternate nostril breathing. I know we've talked about that a little.
Yeah.
That's a quick way to decrease stress and kind of similar to humming, but brings you down really quick. It also improves focus and calm without making you tired. Like deep belly breathing, for example, makes you tired.
Right.
You're calm, but you're tired. So, for you or for someone that needs to be awake and continue to do things, that alternate nostril breathing is great. And then I think, gosh, there's so many things. I like to do mindful movements. So like yoga, I think that's, a pretty known thing, but I do know, like, I believe strongly, we have electromagnetic fields and things like that. So when I say energy, I mean these electrons that we can detect from our bodies.
Right.
So the energy does move. We do kind of balance and equilibrate, and with these kind of mindful movements, and it doesn't have to be some like crazy hit yoga class. I have one teacher I love who always says, really, the practice is the breath. It's not about the pose. The practice is the breath. And I think even those types of things, like they can improve oxygenation. By the way, alternate nostril breathing improves oxygenation and reduces recovery time for athletes. Also improves, it decreases your sensation of like how hard the workout is. You essentially are like, oh, this isn't as hard. So there's just crazy amounts of benefits in these 3 things for kind of everyone. So that's what I would say. And then truthfully, here's an extra: gratitude journaling. Gosh, putting your bare feet on the ground, being out in nature, like all of these have great exercise. So exercising outside has way more benefits than inside. So yeah, I could go on forever, but I'll just leave it. I'll leave it where we're at right now.
Yeah, there's tons. And I mean, yeah, we just gotta make sure that we, implement even a couple into our routine. I think that's crucial.
Yeah. All right, Brisa. So what are you excited about this upcoming year? What kind of challenges? What are you looking forward to? You tell me.
Well, I'm excited for a lot. Like, I think, like I mentioned, I think that I feel pretty whole as a person, as an athlete. And I mean, obviously not completely whole, because there's definitely a lot of cracks within who I am. But I think I'm not scared of or afraid of like failing, like I think that I've already went through that, and I don't know. It's just, there's so many more opportunities, and I just want to be spontaneous and free and really enjoy all the experiences that life has to offer, and be in that gratitude mindset, because I mean, I'm so lucky that I'm able to do what I do, and it's only going to be probably, only a short amount of time of my life, and I want to make the most of it I'm excited to go to, some new surf locations this year. And I think, yeah, hopefully be in the running for a world title. I mean, that's the biggest goal. And yeah, I'm fired up and so motivated.
Yeah. I will say that you should just say, I am going to get the world title. That tells your body to get ready.
Yes, I am going to get the world title. This is
Yes. When you get the world title this year, I want you to. I'm just so impressed, Brisa, with how much you've gone through. If anybody can do it, or if anyone deserves it, it's you, for sure. But as we all know, and even as your dad said to me once, like, winning doesn't determine, like, it doesn't mean everything. And I'm happy that you know that, and you appreciate it. And even though I want you to get super competitive, I'm going to watch you. I'm curious, what new locations are you excited about?
Snapper Rocks is coming back on tour, which is on the Gold Coast of Australia, which is, a dream wave. It's a beautiful right point break, and normally maybe 1,000 people out. So to get that, with only, 2 other people, 1 other person would be a dream. We're going to the Middle East for the first time in surfing, to Abu Dhabi at a wave pool. So that will be a crazy experience. We're going back to J-Bay in South Africa. And it just seems like the tour is starting to become more of the dream tour that we all strive to get on, which is, all surfing the best waves in the world with the best surfers in the world. So I think it's a really cool time for surfing, but an incredible time for women surfing. I'm seeing the progression of what women are doing, how we're pushing each other, pushing the limits, and it's pretty rad to be a woman surfer at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're incredible in general, but yes, being on the forefront of that is amazing. So thank you. And thank you for future women.
Exactly. I'm very grateful to all the women that paved the way. I mean, they went through a lot to make sure, that they set the path for the opportunities now that we're so grateful to have. And to the next generation of women that's inspiring us. I feel like I'm starting to feel old as the new, little girls start to push even more. And I think that's so cool. So, yeah, it's awesome to see all the incredible women in Costa Rica pushing each other too. All the little girls that are, striving to be the best. And yeah, I'm inspired by that. And I hope we can have a couple more Costa Rican surfers on tour.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. With your influence, all these girls are probably excited to be Brisa Hennessy. All right, Brisa. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Making time. It's not like you have things to do. Getting ready.
We all
and
do.
You're starting up here soon on the 27th of January, right? That's when the window starts there for Pipeline, correct?
Yes, 27th of January is the beginning of the new season and fresh new slate. So I'm going to give it my all, and yeah, really grateful for all the support of Costa Rica and my team, which is of course includes the incredible you and so many others. And so it's you can't do it alone. And so yeah, really grateful for my village of support.
Yeah. I'm so grateful to work with you too, Brisa. So all right, well, have a wonderful day. Good luck with the season.
Oh, I really appreciate it. It was so lovely to talk to you, and thank you for being so knowledgeable and inspiring us to get more into that mind, body, spirit space.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.